Welcome to Momtroversial, the podcast that dives headfirst into the beautiful chaos of motherhood and dishes on the stuff we wish we would have known and nobody tells you. I'm Leah, your scrunchy nurse riding the Hot Mess Express, here to remind you that it's fine, we're fine, and everything's fine.
I'm Alyssa, a crunchy mom who's all about organic living. I'm organized, opinionated, and your designated wing woman in any parenting bar fight.
And today, unfortunately, the sickness is still plaguing Tori's household, so we
Poor
are
girl.
missing her today. Um, and we are going to jump in and talk about something we mentioned on last week's episode if you missed it. Alyssa's Momtroversial moment was to do with Reagan wanting to pray to King Nebuchadnezzar after reading, it's Daniel in the Lion's Den, right? That's the story that one is.
It's either Daniel in the Lion's Den or it's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I get them
Okay, it's
confused.
one of those two.
So,
That's like back to back.
yeah.
And one of the things I've been thinking about personally in our lives is incorporating our faith in scripture with our kids, being as young as they are. 3 and 18 months for me, and then Ray Ray's 4, KK's 2, and then you're about to have your second or third. And we just decided that we were going to have an episode where we're going to share what we're doing and or brainstorming ways we can do better, and talk about how we are incorporating our faith with our children so young. So one thing that I want to know out of curiosity is, have you had any moments this week where you guys have had any Bible conversations with Ray Ray or KK?
Reagan, not so much a conversation, but Reagan is in her like singing era. So she will make up songs about Jesus all the time. And they're mostly
Oh,
like
I love
on
that.
point, but they're pretty funny. Um,
That's so
she
funny.
just will like top of her lungs while she's like pooping or something.
Oh my
Just
gosh, I
walking around the
freaking love
house,
her.
whatever it is. Yeah. Hmm.
We have, I gotta be honest, I would like us to have more conversations, and that's why this is something I've been thinking about in our personal lives. Um, we haven't had a ton. We, though, did have a moment last week where we host a Bible study at our house on Tuesdays, and there ends up being around 24 kids on average at my house.
Sheesh.
And what we do is we do adults downstairs. And then right now, because the weather here hasn't been great, kids go upstairs. I can't wait for the weather to be warm and the kids can go outside.
Uh-huh.
But the kids go upstairs, and then parents take turns, 2 of us watching the kids. And so we've started doing Bible lessons for the kids during
Nice.
our Bible study time to give them a little bit of structure. And we are going through, it's called The Biggest Story by Kevin DeYoung. And it's a kid version of going through the Bible and how the entire Bible connects the stories from Adam and Eve all the way to Revelation. And we just did a story. We just did Adam and Eve and them leaving the garden. And we just did Cain and Abel. And Declan, with his kids' Bible we have, he loves the sneaky snake story. That's what he calls it, the sneaky snake. I want to read Sneaky Snake. And we just did the story of like Cain and Abel. And it was so funny. I cannot tell you exactly what he said, but we were in the car the other day and driving, and Declan was telling me the story
No.
where he was sitting in the back and he said, Mommy, God made Adam and Eve, and Eve in the garden, and the sneaky snake, and then Adam and Eve couldn't be in the garden anymore, and then Cain and Abel, and then Mommy, what happened? And it was kind of like that, where I know he said other stuff in between, but those were the
Uh-huh.
bits that I was gathering from it, where he was just going, and then he did it again. And he kept saying, and he said, Mommy, what happened? And I'm like driving, and I feel like one of the things with kids that is so interesting when you become a parent is us learning how to explain these concepts and things at such a
Uh-huh.
young level, especially if you're like us, where you grew up just knowing them.
Yeah.
Now we're having to break it down. And I was dumbfounded for a moment and had to gather myself and figure out, how do I reiterate this at a young level? But it was really cute. So that being said, what is kind of your routine? What are some things that you simply do on your day to day for scripture, prayer, faith routine with your girls?
So, honestly, Ryan does a lot of it now that I'm thinking about it. He does a great job of it. But he does
Love
bedtime.
that.
Yeah, he does
Okay.
bedtime, and so a lot of it is bedtime adjacent. So, um, we have little kids' Bibles that kind of like are getting more and more detailed, and we've literally just kept reading through the Bible. We read through the
Hmm.
very most basic possible one, and then we moved on to something with a little more, and we got an extra story and a little more detail, that kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
I've been just trying to like upgrade the Bibles in details as
Hmm.
Ryan gets through them with the girls, and they read a story or two every
Hmm.
night, depending on how long it is. And then they've recently started incorporating, um, gosh, I wish I could remember what it's called off the top of my head. Um, but
Catechisms?
no, one of my best friends, she, um, she got the girls these faith-based books, and they're like rhyming books, and they're so fun. Like, one is called Pete, Feet, and Fish to Eat, and it's all about Peter and
Oh,
fishing.
cute.
Like, it's a story about Peter.
Okay.
And the rhyming is, like, fantastic. They love to listen to it, and she got them, like, this whole little Bible book sent by the same author. And so the girls have been reading that alongside the normal Bible they read with Ryan at night now, I
Hmm.
guess.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. He's been expanding bedtime lately, which, more power to him. Um,
He does it, so.
yeah, right? So Bible stories every night, essentially. And then I think that usually does lead to, questions and answers on his
Hmm.
part. Sometimes I hear it, sometimes I don't. And then we do prayers at dinner, and I've actually been trying to get better at like praying before every meal.
Hmm.
But we do prayers at dinner, which is pretty funny because we have, I guess you could call this my momtroversial moment for the week, but we have this prayer that we've like Ryan's always prayed since we've kind of been married, and he says, "Thank you for my beautiful wife and this beautiful life, and thank you for the food." And he goes through and he thanks for each member of the family, and it's expanded. And so now the girls want to do it. Oh, and then I add on, and thank you for my handsome husband. And so now the girls want to pray though, and they use that exact same frame. So Reagan's over there. Thank you for my beautiful wife and my beautiful wife and my handsome husband. Every time she prays, it's so cute. Um, but yeah, so we do prayers, we do grace. Um, something that I have done is we've gotten the Bible Yoto cards.
Hmm.
Literally like it's books of the Bible told in like for kids essentially, and Reagan will take that back to quiet time with her and like listen to the whole book of Daniel on the Daniel card.
Love that for
So
her.
yeah, that kind of thing, like just giving them the option to
Yeah.
have that, I think has helped. And lots of church activities, PWOC, nursery at the church we go to on Sundays, like that kind of thing. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I don't think we do anything like that feels over and above, but they
Yeah.
definitely are learning, and it's very
Yeah.
interesting to see what they're learning.
Yeah. I'm curious about the Yoto cards because I remember you told me about that. So for listeners who are listening and unaware, what a Yoto is it's basically a portable audiobook player for kids. And you have these cards that you buy and you can put them in the Yoto and it just starts playing the book or the story or whatnot. We got one for Declan and he loves it. And I remember you were telling me that you had bought the cards. And when I
Mhm.
went to go look, it was right after Christmas. And so there was none left or available at the time. And I have all of these make your own Yoto cards that I've been thinking about just recording some of my own of the Bible
Oh,
stories
yeah.
we have on it. But my problem that I've had, because I've also paid for some MP3 downloads for a
Mhm.
make your own Yoto card with the Bible stories. And Declan's problem right now is he only likes the Yoto cards that have a picture of something on it.
Yeah. I put
So,
stickers on them.
okay,
I've
that's a
ordered
good idea. So,
stickers before. Like, we put an MP3 of the Frozen soundtrack, and I just put some Elsa and Frozen stickers, and same with
okay. So
VeggieTales. Yeah.
maybe that's what I need to do then is go to the store and get some stickers because he is not about any of my make your own cards that don't have the pictures when he could just look at Daniel Tiger sitting right there and he could just
Yeah.
grab Daniel Tiger and do that one, or he could see the Paw Patrol like pups.
Mhm.
He's like, Mom, I don't want to listen to that other one. And I'm like, oh,
It's so fair because,
okay.
like, he doesn't entirely like, at least for Reagan, like, she can't read it yet. So she, like, kind
Right.
of knows what they are, but not totally. But I did notice when
Yeah.
I started using stickers, it helped because we kinda had the same thing. I was like, "All these family
Okay.
members have put, like, freaking time into,
Right.
um,
Into this.
recording these cards." And so I used the cards that came with the Make Your Own, and I
Yeah.
wrote their names on them. And eventually Reagan knows, like, this purple card is the Kaguya card and that kinda thing.
Okay. So
So,
maybe that's what I'll try
yeah.
because I do love that idea of just that's one thing I've been thinking about more often is wanting him to do like have that as an opportunity to listen to, which don't get me wrong, I read other books too, right? Like I don't
Mhm.
only read biblical based stuff, but for him to have that as an option. We also have a kids Bible. We are on the most basic one right now. It's like it's the one on Amazon. We bought it. I can't remember the actual name of it, but it goes through all of them. There's short stories, but there's pictures on every page.
Yeah,
And we do a Bible story every night. So we'll do Ella gets a book, Decky gets a book, and then we read a Bible story.
literally
And
same.
we've worked our way through it once. Now we're going through it a second time. I think we're almost at a point where we're ready to upgrade
Mhm.
to go a little bit more, especially because Ella has torn out several pages of our Bible book. And I am
Blasphemy.
over. and it hasn't been as much lately. She's gotten better lately because she's 18
Yeah.
months now. Um, I would say within between the 6 or 12 to 18 months range, where she doesn't mean it intentionally, but when it's the thin pages and she's turning through a book and
Okay,
she's like,
too.
ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. So Ruth, the story of Ruth is totally out of our Bible because Ella tore out all the pages.
She
I'm
said
like,
this
okay,
one was
Ella doesn't.
not interesting.
And so then anytime she gets her hands on it, Declan's like, Mommy, no, Ella's gonna break it. It's really funny. It cracks me up.
Well, on the Yodo side, I just want to say the cards that we get are from Kaleidoscope Kids, and I'm actually not sure. They are, I think they are on the Yodo app, but not all of them are. And it's literally like the book of Daniel, we have the book of Acts, we have Luke and Genesis, and I think they have every Bible book.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Kaleidoscope Kids. And it's like tons of tracks. I mean, like
Yeah.
this Luke one is 3 hours long. Like
Oh, wow. So
they're
when you get
legit.
one card, you're
Yeah.
getting,
Mhm.
okay.
A lot. And
That's
like they
really
talk
good to
about
know.
like they break them up into like, the 1, 2, 3. So there's 26 stories or 25 stories for Luke, and it goes the angel's good news of great joy, Jesus's birth, Jesus's baptism, and it just so
Yeah.
Reagan even will look, at least for Daniel, because she's really big into Daniel in the lion's den. She will like find the fiery furnace, and she'll find the Daniel in the lion's den ones if she wants to. And you can. So I like how they're set up that way, that it's
That's good to know.
easy to navigate. Yeah.
That's good to know. I will have to look into that because I'm really intrigued by it. We
Yeah.
also do praying every night before bed.
Mm-hmm.
We are not as good about doing it before meals or sitting down. And I think that that's more of a me problem than anything because I am usually, we don't have like a good dinner routine in our house. We do sit
Mm.
down at the table every time, but it's not the same time every night. It's just, I don't want to say it's improv because it's not improv, but it just varies. So because there's not as much of a routine, I think that that's why it's not something that we do regularly. But we do pray every night before bed. And even Decky, it's funny, sometimes he is at a point where it does mean something to me that he is actually paying attention to us. Hello.
Sorry, I swear I peed before this episode
Same here.
started. I don't know if this baby is just camped out on my bladder, but the last few weeks, dude.
You don't have to explain it to me. I've been the same way. I don't feel like I've felt like I have had to pee so often as I have in this pregnancy.
Yeah. I'm
Like,
like gonna pee my
and it's
pants
always
on the
annoying
regular.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. And
Yeah.
I know that my baby is low, and so I think that that's probably why
Oh, okay.
for me. But I have been so
Ooh, boys
dehydrated because
low.
I hate. I still think it's a girl,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Because Decky sat way lower. He rode lower than Ella did.
Mm,
So, but I don't know. Decky thinks it's a girl too.
yeah. My babies have always been up high, like in my freaking lungs. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So for us, yeah, we do prayer every night. We haven't been doing it with meals as much, but that's because I need to get a better routine. Because, for example, my kids don't wake up from their naps until 3:30. And I don't want to have to start cooking dinner right away when they wake up. But
Mm-hmm.
then usually by the time I start cooking dinner, it's not until 5 o'clock. And then
Yep.
it varies because Travis has a men's Bible study he goes to in the evenings on Mondays. And then sometimes he has band rehearsal on Thursdays. And so I think because of that inconsistency of us sitting down as a family, that's why we haven't been doing it for meals as often, which I just need to do better about even if daddy's not home. Just do it. And there will be times, which is cute. And I think it's like a sign. Obviously, we're doing something, right? Where Decky's like, Mommy, can we pray? Mommy, you need to pray. And when we do pray and we say amen at the end, and Decky goes, Amen.
So
It was
cute.
just really cute. It's so cute.
I love it.
I do too. And then we go to church every Sunday. And even though with us being here, the childcare situation at church has been hit or miss. And so it has been hard to go. Um, One thing that I have just been saying is right now we're in the season, just doing the reps. We're just doing the reps and doing the things. I was listening to a podcast that was talking about, it's called The Happiness Files, is the book the author wrote. I haven't read it yet. I want to read it. It's on my list. And he said the number one indicator for if your kids are going to choose to walk in the same faith as you is them seeing you live out the faith that you're claiming or professing. Not just going to church, but seeing you do it in your daily life. And so that's why in this season, we've been very disciplined about just, even if it's hard, even if I'm not listening to the sermon because the kids ended up having to stay with us or whatnot, we
Mm-hmm.
still go. I go on
Yeah.
Sundays. I go to my women's Bible study on Tuesdays. Decky knows that we host a Bible study at our house another day of the week. And just seeing the repetition of
Yeah.
us doing that is really important. But I want to do better about having more conversations with our kids. And I was really convicted this week. Because you know how when you meet people in your lives and you're like, man, they just love Jesus. Man, it
Mm,
is all over them
yeah.
how passionate they are about their relationship with the Lord. And you don't even have to prompt them
Hmm.
for you to figure it out or to have those conversations. It just overflows of the abundance in their heart and where they're at. And I was convicted this week talking to Travis about this because I would really like to do better talking about it with our kids in the day to day, not just at bedtime, not just when we go to church, but having these actual conversations. And I told him, I said, you know, I know that it's a good thing that I'm asking this question. This is something that I want to do. But also at the same time, I'm convicted because what does that say about where I am spiritually? That I'm having to ask the question of, well, how do I have these conversations or how do I incorporate it? Because I'm not in a place where it's just overflowing.
Well,
I'm
but
just trying to,
also it can't overflow to an adult the way it overflows to a kid, you know? Like it's
yeah,
not I would say like where you are in your spiritual journey is you're aware of it and you're trying to do it and that's the
right.
goal, right? Like we're never if
Yeah.
the minute we think like okay, I'm doing a perfect job and I'm doing everything right and yay me, like that's the problem, you know?
Yes.
Like so
Yeah.
I feel like it is hard. I do have to think like when Reagan was like I'm gonna pray to Nebuchadnezzar, or like I said a prayer to Nebuchadnezzar about whatever. I was like, okay, how do we talk through this? And then when she said, well, he'll just tell God for me, I was like, okay, how do we talk through that? And we've
hmm
had a couple people pass away recently that are kind of family adjacent. And there's been like conversation about that. And it's not that I don't know how to talk about heaven with people. I don't know how to
hmm
talk about heaven with a 4-year-old because I've never had a 4-year-old, you know? And,
Yeah.
like, you don't wanna like, still all the time, she's like, "So, when am I gonna go to heaven?" And I'm like, "I really hope not for a long time." But, like, it's hard to say, "I really hope not for a long time," because we teach them that heaven is this wonderful, amazing place.
Yeah.
And so then we teach them that it's so amazing, and then, like, also, we hope you don't go for a long time. And they're like, "Well, what the heck, dude? I
What do
wanna
you
go."
mean?
Yeah. So I feel like it's,
Yeah.
like, it's such a different conversation. I don't think it's an intuitive conversation at all. I don't think it's just something you should know because you're a Christian, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I've just been convicted in general when thinking about this, and because our kids are so young, and this is such a good age to lay foundations
Mhm.
for them, which we're doing, right? We are
Yeah.
doing. But I've just been convicted about it lately, which in general, I've just been convicted about it needing to be more of my everyday habits and routines for myself personally too. Right. So I know you have a really good habit of you don't get to read your books until you've done your devotional for the day.
Okay, I will fess
And
up there. That habit has not been in place since I got pregnant. Maybe since we moved from
that's so
Korea.
funny.
It
That's
it
so
was
funny.
a
Okay.
really great habit
Eh,
until nap time took precedence.
yeah. As I'm yawning, these pregnant women here, man,
Mm,
we are struggle lesson with the fatigue.
surviving,
No,
not thriving.
I totally feel that. I totally feel that in my soul. But I've never had that habit, or not never. It's been a really long time. So I've been trying to do better about that, where I will get done. If anything gets done before I take a nap during nap time or I do anything
Mhm.
else, I will sit down and do Devo, or for our Bible study, whatever Bible study we're working through or whatever
Yeah,
book that I'm reading, actually doing it, actually choosing to do that over other things instead of just walking into the Bible study on Tuesday
yeah.
or Wednesday, having not done anything. you know,
Yeah.
because really it's all about prioritizing what's most important. You do have time. It's just, are you using your time wisely?
It's so true.
Um,
I'm honestly glad you reminded me of that because I should get back into that.
you're
Because I'm
welcome.
always like,
That's what I'm here for.
okay. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Because I do like I have to read a little bit of my book to like detox from my screen before I take a nap, but I could just as easily do my Bible study to detox from my screen before my nap. So,
Yeah. Practice of denying thyself. Am I right?
mm,
Denying
oof, denying the
thyself.
flesh.
Do you guys do store or songs? You guys do Bible songs at all?
Um,
Or like what type of music? How do you handle music in your house?
so I'm not a huge like I love country music. I like to listen to music, but I'm not like a I have to have music all the time girl. Ryan is. Ryan like
Okay.
cannot do anything without music going. And sometimes I'm so overstimulated, I'm like I'll literally kill you. um but for we have a little playlist for the girls and it has some like secular songs on it because Ryan has a theme song for every single thing they do, like from swinging on the swing to jumping on the trampoline to like whatever they do, he's got a theme song for it, so it's on there to bath time. Um, but one of my favorite bands, and it's from when I was a kid actually, are the Go Fish Guys, and
The
they
Goldfish guys.
the Go Fish Guys. They're a bunch of dads. They're a cappella, but they use percussion, so they're not really a cappella, but you know, they're great. They have extremely fun. They take Bible songs and they make them really fun and like actually enjoyable to listen to as a parent too, you know, versus some like kid songs and Bible songs you're like, can we just not listen to this for 16th time?
Is this
Um
them?
mm, yes, it is. Uh-huh.
Okay.
So they have
Okay.
really fun songs. Some of them are not like strictly Bible songs, but they're very like encouraging songs. Um
Yes.
and fun songs and like nursery rhyme songs. They
Okay.
do it some. Um like their wheels on the bus, it says, gosh, what is it? It's pretty funny. This the baby on the bus. Oh, the baby on the bus goes wah wah wah. Give him a bottle. Just like funny things like that that just make you laugh as a parent because you're like, seriously, do something about that. Um, so love their songs, and they've got tons of songs too. So it's not like you're, you know, repeating two
The
times in
same
a car
stuff.
ride. Yeah. Um, so we do a lot of that.
Okay.
Um, and Reagan has her worship song. It's Glorious Day by Passion. That
Oh,
is
good
her.
song.
I honestly don't know how it became her worship song, but it is. Like
It's a
it is.
good song though, because
Yeah.
when the beat drops in the chorus thing,
Mhm.
uh,
And she likes the
I
live
ran out of
version.
that grave.
Oh yeah. Top of her lungs. I ran out of that grave. And I'll ask her, I was like, uh, who ran out of that grave? And she goes, Jesus. And I said, yeah, who else ran out of that grave? She goes, me. um, but yeah, so she likes the live
That's so
version
cute.
specifically though. And so like at some point he says like, come on, sing it out or something. And like, she'll say that with him. It's so funny.
That's so cute.
Um, yeah, so we do have like I've been trying to be more conscious and like putting on worship music when we're in the car and stuff.
Hmm. Same.
Um, because she started to ask to come to worship with us on Sundays because
Oh,
as of her 4th birthday, she wants to be a worship singer on stage at church and a firewoman, but she also wants to be a mom and she's going to have special car seats for her kids to ride in the fire truck with her. So
oh,
she's got it
perfect.
all figured out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she loves watching them sing on stage and she loves just worship music. And so I've been trying to play more worship music so that maybe like she'll know a song when it comes on. Cause right now she just
Yeah.
kind of sits. enjoys it. She enjoys it, but she loves
Oh,
to sing along. So, um,
that's super cute.
yeah, so we have been taking them with us to worship for church and then
Okay,
taking them to nursery after.
cool. I love that you
Mhm.
could do that. For right now where we are, they cut off. Like you
Oh,
can't
yeah. You'd
drop
never
off
get into
after,
nursery.
yeah, you can't drop off after 15 minutes. And so we haven't been doing that, but Deck likes music too. So normally what I do is we'll stay for second service worship
Well, that's
and then we'll
nice.
leave, especially because Travis plays the drums. And
Yeah.
so he knows the routine where he comes in and we go and he says, Daddy playing the drums today? Daddy's playing the drums today? And I'm like, yeah, Daddy's playing the drums today. He said, I want to see him. I want to see him. And so we
So
do
cute.
that and he loves it
I
too.
love
I've been
that.
trying to be more aware as well. I like music in the background. I'm like Ryan. Travis is hit or miss. Like Travis can do music. He could do nothing. It just depends on his mood. But I'm not obsessed with music, if that makes sense. It's not my lifeblood. I'm not musically inclined. I just like having a little bit of a background vibe. So I've been
Mhm.
trying to be better about choosing worship music, not just for the kids, but for myself as well. And to just truly, from all inputs from myself, trying to fill my mind with good things and things above to
Yeah.
therefore get to a place where that's where I'm coming from. But there's also a podcast I've listened to a couple times and I'm trying to find some other ones potentially too called Tiny Theologians.
Oh,
I
cute.
think Reagan would love it.
Mhm.
It's on Spotify. I don't know. It's probably on the other ones. It's like a crossway podcast, and it's literally a little boy and a little girl having a conversation. Like imagine
Cute.
uh, Hannah and Johnny having a conversation, like a
Stop.
6-year-old and like a 4 or 5-year-old, talking about these biblical concepts of who God is or the birth
How
of Jesus.
cute.
And then they go on an adventure to answer a question during these episodes, and they'll go talk to different adults about them. They're like 10-minute episodes. So I've started trying to incorporate that a couple
Love
times a
that.
week into the car because we take turns. Decky gets a song. Ella is at the stage where Decky likes to give Ella a song, but it's usually Decky's song part two.
Yeah.
And then mommy will get a song. And then a lot of times, because I'm so indifferent with music, I've been choosing that. That's my quote song. And we'll
That's
listen to one of those
smart.
episodes.
I just added
And
that
then
to
we'll talk
my
about it.
list.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
let you know if I find any other ones, but that's another thing because he likes the Yoto so much.
Mhm.
But we don't do Yoto in the car because I can't have his Yoto going and us
Yeah,
doing
that's
other
too
like
much.
yeah. So I've been doing that one and I like that. And I'll let you know if I find any other ones just to try to, not just for them, but even for me, of how do you break things down at this level and
Mhm.
incorporating that. And then I was even thinking about potentially doing the Bible story lesson that we do on Tuesdays, incorporating that
Mhm.
another time or two
Yeah.
throughout our week, like a follow up for our kids. And then,
Yeah.
I think as I continue to grow spiritually, it'll grow more. But that's been my conviction is me wanting to grow so that way I can grow with my kids because it's just so important for them.
Yeah.
Um,
There's another one that we've been listening to that's definitely geared towards older kids, but for whatever reason, Reagan really likes it. It's called Real
uh,
Cool History for Kids, a podcast on
okay.
Spotify. And it's faith-based history.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it very much is for older kids, but for whatever reason Reagan really likes it. Um so the story of John Bunyan,
Okay.
Leaning Tower of Pisa, Christopher Columbus. That's probably an interesting one. Amy Carmichael, the girl who said yes to God, like all these different things. And it's that one I like because I actually learned something too. And it's
Yeah.
like she tells it, she's definitely telling a story to kids, like there's no doubt about that.
Right.
But
Yep.
it is a history lesson in 20, 30
Mhm.
minutes. Um
Yeah, that's good.
so it's got meat, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um
that I like
which
that.
all
I'll have to
Bible
look at that one.
lessons would. But yeah.
Oh, literally all of them would. Um, that's good to know. Is there
Yeah.
anything that your parents did with you growing up that stuck with you that you may not have done with your kids yet, but you would like to do, or just in general?
Um We did Awana growing up, and,
We did too.
I really liked Awana up until, I was a middle schooler when I didn't like anything. But, we did in Korea, we did Awana, but we did, like, Puggles, and I didn't
Mhm.
love Puggles. I didn't think there was really it was essentially it was glorified childcare. Like, that's what it was. And, so that wasn't my favorite, but I think Reagan is at the age for cubbies now where you actually start memorizing verses and that kind of thing, and she's
Mhm.
very, like I mean, she's a firstborn daughter, like, she's very, like, reward oriented, like, "I get something
Yeah.
for doing this," like, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I do want to get her involved in that, because I did really like it, especially as a kid, and
Yeah.
I mean, it you memorize stuff so much easier as a kid, and I still
Yeah.
have so many verses memorized, even if I don't quite remember the reference or I don't remember the
Yeah.
exact verse, like, I can find it, and, like, having that
Yep.
knowledge, I think, is pretty invaluable.
Agreed.
So I appreciated that. My parents, kinda like what you said, they very much instilled in us the importance of going to church. And
Mhm.
I think all of my siblings and I learned a little bit of a different lesson from that. But
Mhm.
the lesson that I learned was church is important, community is important. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, the Bible, Paul is very clear. Again, couldn't tell you exactly where, but he's very clear about the importance of having a community and going to church, and sitting at home and watching church online is not the same thing. Um,
Mhm.
that's something that I really appreciate about Ryan is if I am sick or if I've just had a baby, that kind of thing, he's like, "Okay, that's fine, but, like, I'm still going to church with
Mhm.
whatever kids, I can bring," type thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I super appreciate that about him, and I do appreciate that about my parents. I think, um, it was interpreted a little bit by some of my siblings as, like, forcing them into their religion. Um,
Uh-huh.
but the way I see it is if I really believe this whole thing about God and heaven and hell and, like, everything about it, I am gonna do everything I can to keep you from the worst possible fate I can imagine, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. So because I think of it that way, I appreciate how they were so committed to church.
Mhm.
And I will tell you any day of the week, the only way we not get through moves, but, like, rebuild after a move, if I find a church, Jesus will bring me friends every single time.
Mhm. Yeah.
It might not be instantaneous, um, but he will always provide me with what I need there if I prioritize
Mhm.
him. And sometimes even if I don't prioritize him, but I've just noticed specifically with, like, finding a church, going to a church, getting involved in a church, that has been the
Mhm.
case. Um,
Yeah.
so, maybe my kids will think that I forced my religion on them, but hopefully they'll think that I prioritize something that was important to me and
I think
for
that
them.
it's hard as a kid, because I mean, I grew up a pastor's kid, right? So if there's anybody who's gonna feel
Forced.
like there's a religion forced on them, it would have been me as a pastor's
Yeah.
kid. Um, but the one thing my parents did really well, and that I am really excited for us to transition out of the military is growing up. It wasn't all the time. Like my middle school, high school years, the ministry we were a part of wasn't super great. But starting out as a kid, the kids' church I went to through fifth grade, we went to a church where they had a rockin' kids ministry,
Mm,
where Sundays were fun and they were engaging, and I looked forward to going. And
uh-huh.
then we did camp, and camp was always so much fun. So at that young age, where you start to form those habits for yourself, my parents prioritized, we were somewhere where the kids ministry was just awesome sauce. So
I
by the
love
time that I
that.
got to middle school, high school, and those ministries weren't as awesome sauce because we were transitioning churches and moving, um, it was okay because I'd already had the foundation.
Mhm,
I already had the foundation of all of the years up until fifth grade
mhm,
of going and wanting to be there. And so I know as military for us, it's not always possible, right? With your different duty stations. I think overseas specifically is where it's the hardest because you
mhm.
really are very limited on your options overseas. I think most places stateside, you'll have pretty decent options to where you
Yeah.
can look around. And I hate saying look around and shopping because I don't feel like church should be about consuming and being a consumer. But I think if there's anything you want to prioritize, it's number one, biblical teaching and biblical Bible based preaching. And
Mhm,
number two, having a kids ministry that is really going to engage and excite your child to learn about scripture on the days of the week that you're going. Um,
mhm.
and so that's one thing that I'm eager for going back to the States is to
Yeah.
find that so that way our kids can be a part of that because here it's very much just been on us. You know, all
Mhm,
of their teaching and exposure has very much just been on us versus if you have a good kids ministry, then you can continue the conversation from things they've done at Awana on Wednesday because we did Awana too, or the
mhm.
conversations on Sunday.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
do you have any other thoughts, things, or tips that you would like to add or share to conclude this episode?
Honestly, not really. I even already gave you my
Okay.
momtroversial moment, so
Yeah,
what's yours?
you did. Okay, so mine happened yesterday and it's really freaking cute. I have started getting into a little bit of my nesting-ish phase because I'm 30 weeks today.
Wow.
And I know. And so I started
Dang.
organizing some of the baby stuff that we have in the spare room because my mom's gonna come stay with us. And Deck was up from a nap. Ella's been sick, so she was still sleeping. So it was just me and Dee while I was doing this project. And he said something like, "Mommy, what's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's for the baby when the baby gets here." And he said, "Oh, for the baby in your belly?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay." And he just kept going. And then I was moving something. And he came and he said, "Mommy, when my baby sister, we don't know the gender, Declan thinks it's a sister. He says, when my baby sister gets here, is that for her?" And I said, "Yep, like when the baby gets here, we'll use this. But Deck, what are you gonna do if you have a baby brother instead of a baby sister? Are you gonna be sad?" And he said, "No, I'm not gonna be sad. When the baby gets here, I gonna hold the baby and I gonna sit in the chair and I gonna
Aw.
rock the baby and I'm not gonna be sad. I'll get to snuggle the baby." And I was like,
Stop it right now. Literally.
crying. It was so cute. Like, and he was elaborating how
Oh.
he's gonna hold and rock the baby when the baby gets here, and he's excited to get to sit in the chair and hold her. And he said, "I'm gonna watch Cars with the baby." I was
That's
dying.
true love right there. He's sharing
I
cars with
know.
her.
I know. I thought
Oh.
it was just so sweet. And for me, the reason why, besides it just being cute, it meant a lot to me is because we had such a hard time transitioning from him to Ella
Yeah.
because he was so young. He was 22 months old. He had
Mhm.
no awareness. And his first reaction to Ella was he cried. And he said, no, 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 and ran away from her. Was his
Oh,
first reaction when I brought her home, like 2 days postpartum.
dang.
So the fact that he's excited and wants to be involved with this. And Ella has a baby doll, and I just ordered a baby carrier for the baby doll. And we have a
Yes.
stroller, and they take turns taking care of the baby,
So
of the
cute.
baby doll. And so we've been practicing with that. And so I'm just so excited this time because to get to see him as he's older. And when he said that, oh, so good. So that was my controversial moment this week.
That's so cute. Like,
Oh,
borderline, you can't
he's,
even call it momtroversial because that's like,
I know, because it's just sweet.
oh, so
It's just
cute.
so sweet. He comes up to my belly too every single day. Mommy, is your baby awake? Is your baby kicking your belly? Mommy, can I touch your baby? Yesterday morning, he said, yeah. He said at the kitchen, he said, yeah, sometimes I like to come and touch your baby and put my hands on your belly and feel the baby kick. Although he's never actually held his hand on my belly long enough to feel the baby kick.
That's
But
what,
he
like,
thinks he has.
yeah, we've just gotten to the point where, like, I'm pretty sure you can feel it from the outside. I don't know, because, like, you're feeling it from the inside too. So you're like, am I feeling it on the outside or
Yeah.
just the inside? But I think that you can now. And I've tried to, like, catch it for the girls and Ryan, and we haven't yet. Because they'll, like, come over,
Okay.
put their hand on, and then, like, 3 seconds later, they're like, okay, well, moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, anywho, thank you guys so much for joining us as we talk about all the wild things of motherhood and brainstorm and come up with different ideas of just supporting our families and ourselves in this season. If you guys like listening to our podcast, we ask that you please rate and review us on whatever streaming platform you're listening to. That's the best thing you can do for any podcast you listen to. And if you have anything you would like to hear us talk about, or if you have anything that you want to comment on from this episode, please just DM us at Momtroversial Podcast on Instagram. And until next time, keep it Momtroversial.
See ya.
Bye.